we go.
This is episode 156 of the Fortean Slip. Thank you for joining. This week, we have nothing, thanks to Richard, and the fact that Steve could not make it. Steve is on assignment. Not really. He's listening to polka music, I do believe, Richard.
Polka music. Is that a thing?
He's listening to polka music. Polka band.
Oh, good for him. You know, we all need hobbies.
Somewhere in Ohio, I'm assuming, unless it's just over the border in Pennsylvania. I don't know where they have these little shindigs.
Maybe it's in Juarez.
I don't know where he goes, what he does in his life of greenness.
It is a pretty green life, let's be honest here.
He brings it to a whole new level. But hey, it makes him happy. He has his little eBay career, and he listens to polka music to avoid doing this show. I think that's the way it is. I think that's what we got going on. So, and Richard had no topic. He did not bring his A game tonight. He wanted to talk about video games. I said no. That's not happening.
Sadly.
What would make you think that we should talk about video games on this show?
Well, we
both like video games.
And there are Fortean video games. There are some pretty Fortean urban myths around video games.
Such as what?
There was a version. If you played, instead killed them all, and their gravestones appeared in. That's one Fortean myth. The most famous one is the Ben Drowned of Zelda's Majora's Mask. It's a 4chan myth created by this guy who said he had this dodgy copy of Majora's Mask where the characters all started acting dodgy. Because when he got it, there was a save file on it called Ben. And all the characters starting saying dodgy things like, you're going to die, you're in great peril, and they just said that over and over, and the game was unplayable. Turned out to be bollocks, but it's still a 14-related video game myth. And, what's it called? It was a Russian game, Kill something. It deleted itself when you finished it. And so there weren't many copies of it made. This one guy bid for like 300 grand on it on eBay. And he was going to do a YouTube live recording of himself playing the game. But when it came to do it, it just showed him looking at the game screen and crying.
Okay.
There's that. There's the old arcade. The old arcade machines are Polygon, that the government were using those to test on kids going to arcade. There's another Fortean.
So nothing like The Last Starfighter, though.
It's The Last Starfighter.
The movie. The guy, kid plays the video game and then the fucking spaceship lands.
Yeah, no, I got confused. I was like, what? What's that? No, nothing like that. They're all just weird, creepy urban myths revolving around video games. Most of them are debunked pretty easily, but there's always that what if.
I mean, if I was going to go 40 video game, I'd go The Rake or Rake on Steam.
That is pretty Fortean.
Because you're doing like it's like you're out on a research mission or whatever, expedition, and you're looking for the rake. You set up trail cameras, and you can go back and watch the trail cameras and check it all out. And then, winds up being a little bit more than just like doing some research.
Yeah, no.
Fun little game.
Sounds, yeah, I'll check that out. And if you want to go really Fortean on video games, I mean, like super 100% Fortean, we could talk about Half-Life 3.
I've never played it.
It doesn't exist. It's a gamer joke.
Oh, I've never played any of the Half-Life games, so I couldn't tell you.
Well, they made Half-Life 2, Episode 2, right? And they ended it on a massive cliffhanger.
Okay.
But then they invented Steam. And, well, I don't need to tell you that became pretty much their only priority. Because all the money they were making off that. So, Half-Life 3 has become something of a gamer myth.
A myth?
People looking for signs. Yeah, like people looking for signs.
Fucking Kaiser Soze?
Yeah, pretty much. In E3, it's always what they want to see of a teaser trailer for that. It's the game that doesn't exist, but everyone wants.
It's like the disabled video game that's in front of everybody's eyes the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like it's like some old 16-bit version of something that somebody just put out. Those retro indie games that are coming out nowadays.
Speaking of that, I saw a demastered version of The Last of Us with Crash Bandicoot graphics on the PlayStation 1. I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Interesting.
Remastering video games. That needs to be a thing.
You said that the Bigfoot community is quiet.
Yeah, they're posting about Keegan Raid. That's how quiet it is.
I assume that's pretty quiet. I don't know.
It's pretty fucking quiet. I mean, he's a bottom feeder of the... I'd rate Kelly Shaw above this guy. That's how low he is.
Mm.
Kelly Shaw once visited a hoax location and found evidence. So, you've got to be pretty low on the totem pole to out-twat him.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's been pretty quiet. My blog's quiet. Nothing seems to be going on. I talked to that guy you don't like, whose name I won't mention, and he said it's because everyone's out actually camping and stuff.
What guy?
No, he does that other podcast.
Jeff Kelly?
That's the guy. I didn't know what the rules were.
Says what? You don't have to not mention his name. What is he, fucking Lord Voldemort?
You must not be named, yeah. But yeah, he says it's because everyone's out actually looking for Bigfoot in the summer.
That's why there's nothing going on.
There's nothing. I know that this time last year was really slow for my blog as well because I got that thing that you can check.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just waiting for something to happen.
That's great.
Waiting game sucks. I prefer Hungry Hippos.
I'm glad you're on top of it, Richard. I appreciate the fact that you're on top of it.
I'm the guy.
I'm really not.
Yeah, that's pretty. No, me neither. It's the sad state of affairs when I'm the guy that knows what's going on.
Well, I used to have a genuine interest in a lot of it. And then, of course, I took that interest to other places where I actually went out and did research or quote unquote research, I guess you could say. I went out on what I thought was going to be a research expedition a couple of different times, and it wound up just being partying in the woods. And I mean, I'm sure there's other expeditions that go out and they're not as party atmospheric, but I think it's more or less people getting together and just hanging out, even if they're just sitting around a campfire and singing campfire songs and making Bigfoot fucking calls and doing all kinds of bullshit. I just, I became kind of disillusioned with it because I've been out there. I've done this shit. And plus I've seen a lot of the backstabbing and a lot of the bullshit and a lot of the little manipulations and games that go on, and it wasn't my thing. Good luck to them. I think it's it's an interesting subject. Does it hold any fucking water? I don't know. Like I really don't fucking know anymore.
I don't know. I used to think there might have been something to it, but it just gets less and less.
Well, there was a time that I thought that, hey, 99% of this stuff is bullshit.
Yeah.
And then that 99 became 99.2 and 99.5. And, now I'm like pretty sure it's like 99.9. So I'm not even sure I even buy into anything. Because I just find it to be just this desire of a people to have this thing exist. And that's what I think.
It's almost like a religion these days.
Yeah. Could there have possibly been these things at some point? Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's go down that road. Yeah, absolutely. There was a creature that was similar to that. It was called Gigantopithecus. And it did roam the earth with people.
We don't know anything about Gigantopithecus. All we have is a jawbone.
Yeah. All I have of you is a picture of a fucking fist and some messages. And I believe in you, Richard.
That's really nice of you, but it's still... No, it doesn't deflect from the issue.
Wait a minute. We do know that Gigantopithecus was a thing.
Yeah, we know it was a thing, but we don't...
Okay, thanks. It was a big ape.
It was an ape.
Yeah.
We've only got a jawbone. Not a full jawbone.
Yeah.
You can't even tell if it was bipedal or quadrupedal or what.
They know everything about that. They know everything about that goddamn thing.
They do.
They do.
How?
I don't know. They do.
Science. Okay.
They do. I think you're misrepresenting the whole...
Not misrepresenting.
Yes, I think you are.
How can I misrepresent? All we have is a jawbone.
Let's just see. Let's see what we've got. Let's see what we've got, Richard. So, do we go with Wiki?
Do what? Sorry.
Do we go with Wiki?
We go with Wiki. Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, anyone can make pages, but let's treat that as the authority.
Sure, why not? Gigantopithecus is an extinct genus of ape that existed from perhaps 9 million years to as recently as 100,000 years ago in what is now China, India, and Vietnam, placing Gigantopithecus in the same time frame and geographical location as several hominin species. The fossil record suggests that individuals of the species Gigantopithecus blacki were the largest known apes that ever lived, standing up to 3 meters, 9.8 feet, and weighing up to 540 kilograms, or 1,190 pounds. Interesting.
But how?
The first Gigantopithecus remains described by an anthropologist were found in 1935 by Ralph von Koenigswald. I probably butchered that. In an apothecary shop. Fossilized teeth and bones are often ground into powder and used in some branches of traditional Chinese medicine. Von Snitchervelt, whatever the fuck his name was, named the theorized species Gigantopithecus. Since then, relatively few fossils of Gigantopithecus have been recovered. Aside from the molars recovered in Chinese traditional medicine shops, Lucheng Cave in Luzhou, China, has produced numerous Gigantopithecus blackie teeth as well as several jawbones. Other sites yielding significant finds were in Vietnam and India. Trying to see if there's... It's kind of misleading. It does kind of say like that something else was found.
But,
or alludes to it. But for the most part, just teeth and jawbone.
right, so we've got no idea how big it was or how much it could have weighed or anything like that.
Well, they know.
They know.
They can tell all that shit.
They can tell all that shit. That's your argument.
Well, they say the dominant view is that it walked on all fours like modern gorillas and chimpanzees. However, a minority opinion favors bipedal locomotion.
What's that? Wishful thinking?
Hold on. This is most notably championed by the late Grover Krantz. But this assumption is based only on the very few jawbone remains found, all of which are U-shaped and widened towards the rear. This allows room for the windpipe to be within the jaw, allowing the skull to sit squarely on a fully erect spine as in modern humans, rather than roughly in front of it as in other great apes.
That makes sense, actually.
Yeah, so eat shit there, you naysayer. I want a Gigantopithecus that walks on 2 feet.
Fair dude. Well, I can't argue with your logic and wit, so I guess I have to give the point to you. But speaking of Gigantopithecus, we did say
but that is a minority opinion too.
That's true. I'd say ask the chat room, but I don't really want to.
No, let's not.
So we wanted to talk about the missing link as well.
Because that
ties... Yeah, you said we could talk about the missing link to humanity.
I didn't... I was kind of like joking.
In the pre-show sort of thing we do.
I was joking.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you want to, like, if you have something poignant to say...
Well, it adds to
more
the...
than welcome.
Well, it ties into Bigfoot research, what we were talking about with, like, hoaxes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because, of course, the most famous example of the missing link is the Pit Down Man. Was a hoax pulled off by Charles Dawson, I want to say. He put together this fake skull and passed it off as the missing link.
A fake skull.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's the famous example. The Pit Down Man. It was discovered in England by this guy. Now, what's interesting about this fellow, I think his name's Charles Dawson, don't quote me, is that he was like a rich aristocrat.
Mm-hmm.
So he had literally nothing to gain by creating this hoax, but he did it anyway. Which I find fascinating.
Some people do strange things just for the fuck of it.
Yep.
I mean, not everything is planned to pull one over on the world, so to speak.
No.
But I mean, I think there's a plethora of Bigfoot hoaxers out there, or people that don't intend to perpetrate something that wasn't as something that was, but that in the moment they get caught up in it and they think that they saw what they saw. I think there's a lot of that.
Hmm.
I think there's a great deal of that. But you know, it's too bad. Like, I'd like to see decent, organized research going on that you can look at and go, oh, you know, this is what they're actually documenting. It's too bad that we don't see that.
The NAWAC do that, sort of.
The what?
The NAWAC, the North American Wood Ape Conservancy, do scientific research and publish it. I mean, they don't do a lot for Bigfoot. I mean, the Bluff Creek Project is another one that doesn't do a lot for Bigfoot research, but does it in a scientific way. And it sort of points to the growing suspicion I have that Bigfoot doesn't fucking exist at all. That all these serious scientific organizations, the ones that do take it seriously, the ones that don't just make shit up, are coming up with nothing.
Yeah, because that's, you know, and I think that points to the fact that probably there is next to nothing.
Or if it does exist, it is in fact the Wu are right, in which case that's even worse.
No, I don't think that would necessarily point to the fact that the Wu are right. I would say that, you know, possibly the population is limited. I think it might point more to the fact that these things were more prevalent in the past and that we're seeing the end of their species. So in that, wait a minute, Richard, in that, Dr. Johnson's right. But I don't think he's going to save them with magnets and a portal and trees.
I don't think that he's in a position to save anyone.
But that would, you know, that would mean that we're seeing the end of their race.
That's another good example, is that perhaps they're going extinct, and that's
right. Well, that's what I mean. You know,
yeah.
We saw the slow decline of their species. Now, the question that I would have in that, you know, the flaw, I guess I would say in that theory, is that there are sightings all over the United States. You know, it's crazy. So I don't know.
It could just be mass hysteria because of finding Bigfoot and everything.
It very well could be in some way, but it just seems like there's way too much for there to be absolutely, positively nothing.
You say that, Chris, but look at the chupacabra. I mean,
chupacabra. Wait a minute. Wait. The chupacabra is a totally different animal.
Well, it's completely example of the same sort of thing. I mean, let's face it, the original sighting of the chupacabra, the thing that started it all, was a case of someone seeing a movie and panicking.
Right.
And then from that, we have sort of sightings all over Puerto Rico, all over Mexico and Texas, creeping up into the America from this one sighting that was bollocks.
Well, I mean, what do you want for nothing?
Well, it's the same sort of thing. You have all these sightings and people that look into it and research it. You could argue, well, they wouldn't be doing that if there was nothing in it.
The people will do shit just as a hobby.
It's
But
true.
listen, Richard, you've seen people troll on the internet. You are a troll on the internet. Do you
Yep.
think that most people that troll or act like assholes on the internet do it for some great fame or fortune?
Some of them do. You can get paid being a troll.
But for the vast numbers of them.
No.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it's just a way of blowing off steam.
People will fuck with people regardless. People do it just for fun. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to have a huge end game. People can just be fucking with people.
Well, that's true.
And it happens in all the Fortean topics: ghosts, UFOs, psychic powers, Bigfoot, you name it, you got it. So should we turn some attention over to the chat room tonight, Richard?
Yeah.
I'm thinking we should.
Let's do it.
We're missing Steve, and I think we should address the limited chat room that we have.
Hi, guys.
What Black Sheep.
That's
Do you know Black Sheep?
Skylar.
That's Skylar?
Yeah.
That's who it is. Bigfoot sightings are more numerous than any other cryptid. Is that like factually proven? Can we say that for a fact?
Well, statistically, yeah. Let me throw some numbers at you, Chris.
Throw me some numbers, Richard.
8.
I want you to be on the ball.
37.
8.
128. 3,478. There you go. Some numbers. I could just imagine the expression on your face now.
I love that you can't see it. That's what's great.
Sorry. I've wanted to use that joke for so long, but sorry.
Yeah. So to the people listening in the chat room, I am actually opening it up to questions, comments, to see if you assholes are listening. Especially you, Bob. I'm talking to you. I know he didn't answer this in response to me, or say this in response to me saying something to him, but he did just post this is Bob, by the way.
Yeah.
Reliable researchers must first determine activity in their chosen locations. With a small amount of reliable researchers, the results must be nearly non-existent. And then he said, fuck off.
Good old Bob. You know, he can both be intelligent and really dumb at the same time. And that's a talent.
It's stunning, really. It's, you know what it's called, though? Booze.
Booze, yeah. It's called rum.
It's called a lot of fucking rum. That man can drink.
Well, some say.
Fact. Some say he can fucking drink out of a flask the size of a pillow.
And that his beard can filter krill from salt water. All I know for sure is I call him Power Breakdown.
Don't promote your own agenda.
What agenda am I promoting?
You sound like Steve.
I'm not promoting my own agenda. I'm just...
You've been doing that fucking stupid ass fucking some say bit for so long now. That's promoting the Richard agenda. Just be Richard.
The pro Richard agenda.
You don't need to define yourself by Parabob.
It's so often that I get to It's not very often that I get to do the some say bit. Okay, so I'm just enjoying it.
Parabob. I will say it was good having him on the show, though. Finally. It's been a long time coming. You missed that show, didn't you?
Well, me and him aren't allowed to be on the same podcast anymore.
It's not a good idea. You guys destroy podcasts together. You just make all the wrong decisions. Don't do anything right.
Consistently make the wrong decision. That's not true. The Rexall Drug Company was like the best show we ever did.
Oh, yeah?
Funny as fuck.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. I would stake your life on it.
Thanks. Oh, I'm not going to go with that. Just in case you were wondering.
I mean,
but yeah, I mean, the state of the world of Bigfoot research or UFO research or ghost research or psychic phenomenon, it's all fucking just horseshit. I rewatched An Honest Liar on Netflix recently about the Amazing Randy, and the most fascinating thing that I found about that whole documentary was he pretty much debunked all this bullshit, and no matter how much effort he put into debunking these people, like these faith healers and these like Uri Geller with his fucking spoon bending and his other bullshit, those people still continued on.
Well, yeah.
They still keep doing shit. Like the guy that he busted doing the faith healing and calling out people's names, you know, they finally found the frequency that they were broadcasting on, recorded it, and, you know, had him in the bag. The guy came back and is still doing this shit all over again. It just it baffles my mind, the fact that, you know, he put all that time into debunking these people only to have them still be able to continue on and not, you know, run away and hide. It just goes to the resilience of these fucking twacked out people in these different communities. And it's the stuff that happens there is the same as the shit that happens in the Bigfoot and the UFO and the psychic phenomena. It's all the same to me now.
It just goes to show that the police are just basically incompetent, because these people are committing fraud, and you can prove they're committing fraud, and nobody does anything about it. They're going to keep carrying on.
What do you do?
But they're supposed to go to prison. Fraud is against the law.
You call it out, Richard.
Yeah.
And what do you do?
You just keep doing it louder until you break, and then start calling people cunts.
That's one way to do it. I mean, that's the Richard way, I guess.
No way of doing it.
Because I don't, you know, necessarily break into calling people cunts.
I'm just saying, man, that's the way forward. That's the only way. Escalation.
Huh?
Escalation.
Is if the law gets involved?
Yeah.
Do you really want the law involved in that type of thing?
If people are committing fraud, then there should be some sort of punishment, because then that'll serve as like a deterrent.
I just wonder if it would deter people from doing decent research.
Well, as long
That's
as you're
my
not
concern.
charging people, like paid Bigfoot expeditions, for instance, are bullshit and should not be allowed. But if you're going out,
so we agree on that.
But if you're going out and just doing research, not asking for any money, then I don't have any problem with that. It's these people that host conferences and write books and say all kinds of shit to promote themselves and make a fast buck. I mean, they're the people that should be getting prosecuted. I mean, look at Rick Dyer. Rick Dyer took a fake Bigfoot on tour across America. And don't tell me that's not against the law. Some of the shit he was doing.
It was probably somewhere in the fine print for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, there is that, I suppose. But he was going around telling people that he shot it and it was a real thing.
Oh, had a coughing fit. Shit. But yeah, all you gotta do is put for entertainment purposes only.
I guess.
And that covers it. I mean, what are you gonna bust him for?
Fraud.
If he puts that on there.
How hard would it be to build a case for that? With all the videos he did saying he shot and killed a Bigfoot, with everything, how hard would it really be to build a case for fraud?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a member of the law.
And the flip side is that if he does say, oh, it's for entertainment purposes only, he has to say that publicly, and then you've got that.
I don't know that he has to say it publicly. He may just have to, in some way, disclose it.
Well, if Bob says it's not worth the time. Now, I suppose there's that argument with all the murders and stuff going down, but...
Yeah. It's just, it's a bullshit racket, and there isn't enough to go after. It's just... in a lot of ways, it is kind of sickening that we see that these things are happening, and that people are getting duped by certain people. I mean, do I think there are people out there who are trying to do real research? Absolutely. I'm not saying that there's not. I'm saying that we don't see any of it.
Well, no. Well, a good reason for that is that they're just getting on with it and not making books and hosting conferences and making long-winded Facebook posts about how they're best and nobody else knows what they're talking about because they're out there doing the research.
Yeah. And I think I've come across some of those people in my time, being out there. These people that aren't like, huge into promoting themselves, or they're just out there trying to do something. I think there's people like that who get caught up in some of the other bullshit too. Because, you have to go investigate what's out there. It's too bad. It's too bad that that's, the state of affairs. I hated seeing it. Because I had grown up with these visions of, of course, this thing in the fucking woods, because I'd seen the Patterson Gimlin footage and the Freeman footage. And as much as people want to bitch about the fucking Freeman footage, and I don't care, fuck off. Steven Streufert with your fucking horseshit bullshit that you say almost every time we bring it up. But I like the footage.
I like the footage.
You know, I'm not saying that it's real. I'm saying that I like the footage. You know, and it made me, you know, want that for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why it even brings that out in people that we want this bipedal fucking humongous ape out in the woods.
I mean, that'd be scary if you think about it.
Exactly. I was petrified of the fucking thing when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And
I was afraid of sea monsters.
You know, I really wanted that to be, and I don't understand why. It just is. And then when I started getting into, you know, the community, so to speak, quote unquote, it just put a sour taste in my mouth.
Yep.
A real sour taste in my mouth. Because I enjoy the subject matter. I enjoyed the idea of it, but once you get into the nitty gritty of it, of everything that I saw, it was just like, what the fuck? You know, what is this?
What are these people doing? Am I the only one taking crazy pills here? What's going on?
I went bigfooting with Dax Rushlow.
Mm-hmm.
Dax fucking Rushlow.
Of Bigfoot bounty fame.
Yes. The same. Let me tell you.
I imagine he's a laugh, though.
Oh, great time. Absolutely great time.
Yeah.
Good guy. Fun time partying with him. Because that's what we did. We partied in the fucking woods.
That's apparently the best way to find Bigfoot.
And Bill Brock was also with us that night. However, took off. We found him later on in the morning. You know, just one of those things that happens, I guess.
You found him later on. What? Did he just run off into the woods?
No, he was in a vehicle. He had taken somebody back out, said he would be right back. We didn't see him until morning. Yeah, that was an interesting night. I was stuck out in the woods with Dax, Carl, and some other guy, if I remember correctly. And I had no real intention of staying the entire night out there. So that was good.
That is pretty good.
That was a fun one. Yeah. Especially when you've, got a woman to get home to. And you were supposed to be home. Good stuff, Richard. Good stuff.
I imagine she just took it on the chin, though, and there were no severe repercussions.
Oh, wow. Sure. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. But I mean, yeah, that's what I found. I'd love to say that I went on decent research expeditions.
But you've been out with the Dax Rushlow and Bill Brock, and they've both been on TV, so they must know what they're talking about.
If you say so. If you say so.
Bigfoot was one of the last cryptids I got into. Because I started with the thylacine. So I watched a TV show about it when I was a kid. And for some reason, it just gripped me. This real animal that went extinct, but people still thought was alive. And yeah, from that, it was a lot less monster to UK big cats and eventually Bigfoot. Because you can't study cryptozoology and not know about Bigfoot.
Well, my favorite has always been the Mothman.
The Mothman.
And I'm thinking I might take a trip to Point Pleasant. So I'm thinking I may when I make my trip to see Steve.
Go to Point Pleasant.
Because I know Steve isn't far from Point Pleasant. All in all.
The Mothman is another one of those that is clearly mistaken identity.
Clearly. And there's no Mothman, Richard?
There's no Mothman.
Don't do this to me, Richard. I want there to be an Indrid Cold.
Okay, fine. You can have the Mothman, but you know, he kind of sucks.
The Mothman doesn't suck. The Harbinger of Doom.
If he really shows up when disasters are supposed to happen, he never actually tells anybody. He's just sort of there.
Just there watching, like the Watchers.
And you never notice he's there until you look at the photographs after the fact has happened. And you're like, well, how is this useful? If he went door to door like a Jehovah's Witness and he was like, hey, the bridge is going to collapse, do something, then yeah, maybe he'd have a point, but... to show up on photographs, I mean, but he gets everywhere. I mean, there's a photo of him at 9/11, there's a photo of him on that bridge, there's a photo of him in Louisiana before the levees fell. He gets around as our Mothman.
I like the Mothman. I'm not saying that I buy into the Mothman as a real thing. I'm just saying I like the motherfucker.
It's a cool cryptid.
It's a definite cool cryptid.
We have the Owl Man in England.
Owl Man. I'm in. What does he do?
It's just there from what I understand.
What does he do?
He haunts a castle.
Excellent. You gotta have your Owl Man haunting a friggin' castle.
It's supposed to be like a ghost type thing.
Oh, wait a minute. It's a ghost and it's an Owl Man?
He's an Owl Man, but it's like
Can you tie in Ancient Aliens to this fucking thing somehow?
The castle might have been built by them. I'm not saying it's aliens, but
let's go with it.
I mean,
fucking Owl Man. And he's a ghost.
And he's a ghost, and we have the Pig Man of Cannock Chase.
Oh, I've heard about the Pig Man.
Um,
You've got an American werewolf in London.
We've got that. I recently found out we have Dogmen as well.
Ooh.
And I was like...
I mean, why are you surprised? You've had an American werewolf in London for years and years and years.
Yeah, but werewolves and dogmen are different.
No. I don't think they are.
No, they are different.
I think they're the same thing.
Because I had this argument with a dogman believer once. There apparently is a difference between dogmen and werewolves.
A big difference?
And the guy actually said to me, werewolves don't exist, but dogmen do. And I wanted to reach through the computer and slap him. You can't believe in dogmen, but not believe in werewolves. I mean, I suppose it could. But
yeah.
That would be silly. And, dogmen in England is about as ludicrous as Bigfoot being in England. And, I don't believe in Bigfoot being in England. So I guess I don't believe in dogmen being in England either. I mean, why would it be here? It'd make more sense for it to be a werewolf in England, you know, your American werewolf in London thing, than a dogman. And that is how I feel about it. Have you muted yourself, or am I just not hearing you at all?